Hello and welcome back to Scriptcase by Jamie, and that's me, of course. I keep saying that. I think by now maybe you know, and of course if you have been watching the video series from the beginning, then you will know, and hopefully by now you've also got used to my sarcasm and little jokes in between. Okay, so far we have been creating a little platform. I still haven't told you what it is. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. But yeah, you'll like it. And of course, you will be able to reuse it for your own projects once you import it into your own Scriptcase environment. If you are in need of a nice, beautiful license, or maybe you want to upgrade or update your license, add some more users to your package, let's say, then reach out. Scriptcase by Jamie can help you with your Scriptcase licenses. Of course, what benefits do you get? There are many benefits. There are only so many benefits, I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. You do, of course, get some kind of support from myself because it's for the installation and the typical things. But even so, afterwards, I'm always available for you. So you can send me a mail. I'm happy to, reply to your mails and send you basic tips or input on something you're working on, something you're struggling with, whatever it is. I have no problems with that. I'm really quite happy to do that. It's great. It's good for you. It's good for me. It actually makes me smile in the morning when I have those sort of mails. Okay, anyway, we need to get cracking. This series is taking a long time. Yes, we still have quite a few to go, I'm afraid, but that is it. So far, we have now created our control form, and that is not all we have created. We have, of course, created a few applications. And if you have been following along from the beginning, then you should be pretty much where I am now. Or maybe you haven't been following along, you've just been watching. Good for you. That's really funny, isn't it not? And if not, comment. Let me know. Does my laughing frustrate you or annoy you? Let me know. It's all good. All right. So we have then our control form here, and we need to do something with this because right now I basically open here my grid clients, and all I've done is linked it. I haven't done anything else. Okay, I'm passing on the email address somewhere in the ether. I don't know where it is. It's not turning up here. So I need to deal with that. So what I'm going to do then is come back here to my control client email. And I can take this global variable. Now we have it here on our on application init. And what I will do then is on load. I will add this then to my field. So here I will say email to now becomes my client email. So if I go ahead and run that now, we can give that a quick try. And if I run that and I say here, I say santa@claws.com, my favorite email address. And there we then now have the to field being populated by that global variable that I have passed from my other application. It's so simple. It's really so simple. It's really so simple. It drives me crazy. Okay, so we have now our from field, and of course that is something, well, we need to deal with that. Where are we going to take the from field from? Well, we of course need to come back to our planning. Oh my God, we actually need to add some updates here because, well, we only have one process. And we have an important addition to add to this because we need to remember that later in the future, you may come back to this in 6 months, a year's time, and you may think, oh my God, Scriptcase has just come out with this amazing update. And oh my God, I don't remember what I did. And believe me, it's so easy to happen. And especially within Scriptcase, it is a crazy big platform, and the platforms you can develop in it, well, they can be so much crazier. Okay, so now we have our process here, and I want to add here the date of insert. Okay, so I need to spell insert correctly, of course. Now I want that there. That is an awful font, isn't it? So let me change that. I'll just change that to that one, and we want that added all the time, and I will reduce the font of the size. Okay, and then we also want that here on this one because we want to insert that also. And let me add another one And let me go then here, the basic data. Okay. And I will copy that over here as well. And we also then want, well, I should adjust this to include the date and time. We want to be precise, right? Because like I said, you'll come here in the future and you'll be like, oh, is that a date and time? What am I transferring there? And so forth. So you're better off having it now and not having a mess later on. So here you have then the date of insert. That was actually for the update only. So let's copy that then also here on the other side. We have that then also for our processes for this specific form. Okay, so that way when we come back here later, we can always see this is the data that's been transferred there. We can actually get rid of this because really it's really not related. This is a completely separate process. So we really want to think about our email process, because right now, really, we just have our grid applications that we just created here on the fly. And that's not the right one. We just created this on the fly. Okay. We just wanted to add here to our grid clients. Let me get back there and run that. So I can show you the grid clients. Yeah. Run grid clients. Run. And no, it's forcing me to add. Did I add? I didn't finish the setup there. No, it's gone to add another field here. Look. Okay, so let me delete that and come out of there, because sometimes that actually goes a little haywire in there, in that linkage there. You just want to come out of there once you've added your links, and that will just stop you from reloading that page every so often. Okay, so back here in the grid application, we had added here our link. I want to adjust this, the email. It's actually over to the left. I was saying before, maybe it's not centered, but you see it's totally over to the left. And so we check here the edit fields. Client email, let's place this center. And that was actually a different one. See, we had centered the other one already. So save that. And then next time the email here should be semi-centered, because yeah, they are not centered. And now, of course, we have now here our send email. We're passing that on, and we need to have here our from settings. So we need to add this here into our process a little, or create a new process, let's say. So what I'll do is I'll take this again, because I really want to take this. Yeah, I will ungroup that though. Ungroup that, and now I can change here this, and I really want to actually, the emails that we send, I want to log those. Okay, I want to keep track of the emails that are sent. Email sent log. Okay, and that way I can actually keep them there. So let me group that again, and there we now have our email sent. Now the thing is, of course, we have a form, and within our form, what do we have? We have our to, we have our from, we have our subject, we have our message. Those are the fields that we have, and our to, subject, and message fields here are coming from our database. All right. But the from, we still need that from somewhere. So we have a few options from that. Like we could just leave the field blank as it is now. Just leave it like this. And that way you can just add your own email address. But come on, that's no fun, is it? That's no fun. That's no fun at all. We want to auto-populate that as well. And then really we want to hide, or well, stop the field from being edited, so that email address is always used as the from address. Correct? I think so. Anyway, so with that, we can make that adjustment really easy here, and we have here on glance straight away the email client. We need to maybe add here a language variable for that also. So let's add that straight away before we get sidetracked, and I'll just add another one here into this lang. Let's see our email, and let's just call it underscore email. Okay, and here email, and we can add a variety of these, of course. So let's add a few of these maybe, so that we are prepared for whatever else happens. Send, and then we have a send email option maybe, as well as other language keys that maybe we could use here for the email sending maybe. Whatever it may be, you can of course add them and then continue to use them. But right now, we just needed this here, this email language. So back into clients, let's replace that here and maybe even add it into the client table. We could do that there, but I'd prefer to keep that table clean and maybe just add the extra few fields here into our grid application. Okay, so now that has our language key. We want to make some adjustments and actually change something that's happening here. So as I was saying here, for the control form, we could just leave that as it is with the from field, and well, I could just let you add here the from data. But yeah, I like to add some fun things. So let's come back then to our database. Ta-da-da. There it is. No, it isn't. Oh, no, wrong one. This one. There it is again. Okay, so back into our database. Let's come back here to project 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and actually create a new table directly here into my MySQL database, because I can add tables here as well. It's not just fields. I can add tables as well. So here we go. I'll add then a table here for my email log. Okay, so first of all, I was just saying we want to have an email log, right? So we have 4 fields there. We will have then an extra 2 fields because we'll add then maybe the add or the created date, and then maybe the send date, because we could draft it really, and then, well, we could think of those fields now and maybe implement those features later. In general, it's always good to have extra fields. Okay, so sometimes include those extra fields. If you're thinking about adding it, add it now. You don't have to add or create those applications. You can just add the fields. It's not going to hurt. Okay, so email log. Let's create then actually 7 fields. So let's go create, and let's go ID, email. Again, I need to spell log. ID email log, and let's just go here then email well, send date. Oh, no, we said create date, right? So let's add a create date, and then let's add a send date. Okay, and then we want the email to, and then we want email from, and then we have the email subject, and then we also have the email message. Of course, we want to see what was sent, right? That was the whole idea of it. So for the email message here, I'm going to use here a blob field, okay? And that is, of course, because I'm using a HTML editor. I'll set null, subject null, from null, to null, send date, null. Create date, we can use the current timestamp. So for the create date, we, of course, need here the timestamp field, or maybe date time would also be good. And of course, it will just add the current time in there. Now we have then the send date. Let's change that here to date. Email to, varchar, from, varchar, and subject would also be a varchar. So we need to add here how many characters that would be. So for the varchar to, from, as well as the subject, I imagine you're going to have a long subject or even a long email address. 250 characters is your best bet. Okay, so once you've done that, I can go ahead and, well, we have our index up here. I need to make sure I enable that. So I want to set that here as a primary key. Okay, that's very important. So that then also auto increases for us. Now I don't actually see my bar here. So let me zoom out a little, and there we have then the AI to auto increment. Okay, so we need to do that as well. And that will then also automatically auto increment the insert, again, the email, the log, yeah, I think maybe you get it by now. And of course, that then adds then an extra row, let's say, of data for us with a new number, which is the whole idea. So now that we have that, we maybe want to have an extra table so that we can store our settings, i.e. our from email address. Okay, so we have the from here, and of course we could leave that. So I think we'll just leave that, considering I've just added it in here now. So I'll still give the option to change that, I guess. But then in general, we could still have here a settings table. And so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll add here a settings table. And in fact, I'll call it email settings, because then maybe we could incorporate all of the email settings there. Okay, so then we need to work out how many fields we need for our email settings. And well, there's quite a few fields there. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and add 2, and we can deal with more fields later on if need be. Okay, so I will just call it set ID or ID set. Let's call it ID set. And then here for this, let's call it email underscore from. And varchar 250. Set our integer here as 1. We don't need more as 1. And we can just leave this here as defined 1. So that no more will be added ever again. We don't need here the auto increasing, okay, or the index. We're only going to add 1 value in here ever. So let's just leave it like so. And of course, I just added another column. I didn't want to do that. So I need to save this. And now I have my field here, my varchar field. So I will insert 1 entry here. And I'll say santa@clause.com, go. And that is then now inserted here. Okay, so we have 1 email address here. And if I now return back to my application, I can then here on load or even on script init already load that from email address. So actually let's come here to the on script init, and over here to the right I have all these little snippets here or examples, and I can just really quickly and easy use these. So I have here one here to use selecting fields from another table, and that's pretty much what I want to do now. I want to select that email field, and so email from this email settings table. So I come here, email underscore settings, and then that was email underscore from. We can remove this extra field here. And I actually made that wrong, so it's ID set. Let me just double check that. Double T, yes, ID set, and I actually had capital ID, and just like that, we have then our email settings ready. Now not using a field here, so I can actually remove this chunk of code here and just replace that with 1, so that it grabs only the first one. There is only 1, and then here we have our field. So we can actually populate this then with our from field here, so email from, and I will remove here the options, and I will add here the email from, and then say error if there is something wrong. So let's go ahead and run that and see what it gives us, shall we? So we have then here our email address, email@home.com. Let's go like so, and there we have our email from, and it's not populated here, our from, and it's because it's on the on script init. Okay, it's because I've actually placed it here. So because I've placed it here on the on script init, it is not going to populate the field. This actually needs to be here on the on load. If I do place it here, because I could place it here, I would have to set it as a global variable. So I could actually place it here as a global variable, and then on load populate the field. So that is one way of dealing with that. Of course, we could deal with it by copy and pasting this over here to the on load event, but in this case, well, I think I'm just going to go like this. Okay, so we have then our field. I'm going to save that because I'm talking so much, I forget the values. So let's pop there, copy that again, email from, and here, of course, email from. And now if I run that again, it will actually ask me now for this global variable again. Okay, so it's asking me for this email from. I don't want to do that, so we'll have to make a change to that in a moment. Email@home.com, enter that, and now we have our email address being populated from our database as well as our field. Now we had that pop up there, so we don't want that, and I will come then here to application, global variable, and here we have the email from, and I want to change that to out. Okay, and that way it will only be given when this is pretty much processed. And of course, if we wanted to remove it, we could remove the email during one of the processes. But for now, we can just set it as a global variable. It can then be used within this application or elsewhere. So here we have then our user. So let's go back to our grid clients, actually run that from here. And then I can just click here on the send email, And now we see we have the client email address as well as the from email address from our settings table. Okay, how cool is that? Well, we're not finished yet. We're so not finished yet. I really like templates, and I really want to add a template to this. I like the idea of being able to open this email and choose the type of email I want to send, and then off you go. Okay, so with that, we're getting along, and we want to see how we want to add a template to this now. So what I'm going to do is, well, we have quite a few things to do for that. We really want to maybe finish off our process here because we started it and we didn't finish it. Of course, we now created our form, so we have a very good idea of what's actually happening there now. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll grab another element from over here, one of these lovely objects, and I'll call it announcement. Let's give it the announcement indicator, and that's probably going to be yellow, and this is our email settings. Okay, so that basically is grabbing then here our email settings and placing that here also. Yeah, see, I didn't want that, but I do want a line, and I want to go like so, and we like like so. Shazam. Okay, so our email settings are sent into our email log, and then we also have, remember, our client list. So let's grab our client list. I'll use the eyeglasses. No, we actually had an icon for that already, didn't we? What did we use before? Did we use the brain or something? Companies, clients. See, it's the light bulb. So there we go. We use then the light bulb because that comes then from our clients, and that is then the to field. So again, I would choose here some nice little arrows, and that is then also added from our clients. Now, of course, it's good to add here, remember, what we are passing along so that we can keep track of that and know exactly what's happening. So here we are having our from our email settings, and to is coming from our clients. Okay. Now, what I want to do then, of course, is add some templates to this, right? So let me add here a feature maybe, and I'm going to change the color of that as well. Let's make it green. And this feature, as I said, will be templates. So for that, I'll group that again. For the templates, we of course need to create some tables. So we need to come back here to our storage, and let's move this up a little bit, and let's just move it up here because we're going to need more space. We are. And if I just copy, in fact, no, I won't copy that. I'll just actually reuse this. Look, we've got space here, and we want then email templates. Okay, so now if I copy one of these, and again, we can add here all of our details. So our default fields have now changed. So let me place that over here. And I'll actually place that then into each individual field so that there's no confusion. And maybe I should place the defaults and extras and additional in some shape and form of order. Yes, if that makes any sense. And additional and then extra. There we go. Right, so we have our default fields, our additional fields, as well as our extra field, and now we have our email templates, and here you have pretty much the same thing. So we have, first of all, our default fields, which is then our to, from, subject, and message. That's it, okay? And we need that, of course, also for our templates. So the from, we can skip that. Again, we are taking that from the database. So let's skip that one. We need the to, which we don't need either. We really just need a subject and a message. And we can use that as our template. But because it's a template, we need a template type title. Template, if I can spell template, oh my God. Template title, maybe a template description. Okay, and then the subject and message. And then maybe what we also want to add is maybe a status for this template. So if I come here and add status, we will then also add this field to our database. Okay, so that also means we need to update our sitemap here because our sitemap is way out of date. So let me then find here the element that we just used for email. That was here actually a feature that I used wherever it was now. There we are. Drag that in there, and I think I had that yellow, right? So there's the yellow, and let's add then also the text in here. This is the email slash templates. Okay, so I'll actually include that as one, so incorporate the two. We don't need a background, but I do want maybe an email icon. So let me see if I can find here an email icon. And yeah, this one I always find. I have to probably create one myself. I don't have time for that now. So I'm just going to grab here maybe the announcement again. Okay, so that is going to be then the email. Okay, so email sending, okay, slash form. And that is then together there. And of course, we have that over here. And then we have our email templates. For our email templates, we will need to have a grid of our templates. We will also need to have a form for adding our templates. So let me just join those up again. And of course, we can then have these together again, just like we did with our other applications here, like so. Keep forgetting I need to choose another line again. Okay, so that's pretty much it again. And we can, of course, replicate the same sort of thing that we have going here. The form is only going back and forth here to the grid, really. And here, this is also going on to the grid application. Okay, so like that, we have then some kind of process going along. Now, I think it's a good idea to add here the indicator for the email sending. So I'll add that here as actually an orange line, and that starts here and goes all the way up to here. And that then actually goes, sorry, wrong way actually. We want that coming here from our clients and then here to the email sending form, correct? And then we can add here maybe another line because, oh no, we have it there already going to the grid templates. But we do want this pretty much going to, or choosing, we'll deal with that, okay? Because that's going to be another process, really. So we need to come back here to our processes and maybe think of planning that out a little more. So let me just save here our document. So of course, we don't lose anything. And next time we come back here, we know what we've been doing. Okay, so our templates is here. We have our email settings as well as the clients. And we want to also use our templates. Now, when we have here our form, so here is our email sent log. This is our email settings. We want to add then here also our email. So I had added that actually as here the icon here. So let me change this one here to green and adjust here the text. So it's the email form. Okay. So this is actually the form, and I didn't realize I could do that. Adjust the items there inside of the object. That's cool. Okay, so here I have then my form, and the form grabs here the email settings. Now let's change this one here to yellow. This one yellow, and then I want to create a new one which is orange, and it's just changing that one again. So a new line, and this one needs to grab here the templates. So let's come over here, and like I said, I'll change that one to orange, and that actually wants to grab here our templates and allow it to be inserted in here. So here we can then add here template. Let's add the get template so we know actually what it's doing here, and we could maybe change this so it's more like this, in fact this direction, and then here the email settings, it is this direction, like so. Excellent. So the get template, this however, it's important to note that this will in fact go the other way around also, okay? Because of course it is an extra back and forth. We want this template to fill in our form pretty much the same way as our email settings did, but we want to have a synchronization here. So maybe a good idea if I move this over here and let me adjust here our our little curves here, and that way we have that maybe in a, you know, not so over our client area there, and skewing up our view like so. Okay, so this one gets the template, and then this one inserts or sends template. Okay, so we have one getting the template and then one sending the template. So you have a look at it, you request it, and then you're basically going to choose it and import it. Okay, so send or import or whatever you like. You can, of course, choose your own wording when you are creating these processes. And I'm sure you would use an entirely different application for doing this. I typically do too, but that's the way it goes. So for our templates, it has no interaction here with our log. So this is why there's nothing going over here. And it's just our email settings here. And of course, our client here does access here our form. So yes, that was a yellow orange line. So let's leave that there. And that then is like so. Now, the form does go back and forth, but in general, there is no data being passed. Okay, so I need to add here the data here. So let's add here the client email is being sent with this process here. All right, and that way we have some idea of what's actually being sent within each of these processes, as well as what you are basically going to be doing, because how is you going to work out what goes where, what processes, what happens when? You know, you want to try and keep track of those sort of things, as well as plan them out before you start developing. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it for this video. I think there's probably going to be one more video for this series before, well, this part, should I say, because there's going to be a few series until we finish this project, because yeah, we still have so far to go. But that's it for now. So thank you very much for watching. Of course, if you want to download this project, then become a member at ScriptcaseByJamie.com, where you can reap the rewards and benefits of the Scriptcase knowledge base, which, believe me, is jam-packed with information, guides, best practices, snippets, code, templates even. You have header and footer templates there. There are templates as well as themes coming from the Scriptcase by Jamie store. They will be added there also. As time passes, there will be more and more of them. So the longer you are a member, the more you will receive, of course. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you join. And if not, have an amazing day anyway. And I hope at least you are learning something. So thanks again for watching, and until the next.